Our speaker of today is Dr. Catherine Nagadya, who is a devoted wife and a mother of 2 girls. She's an associate consultant at the General Endoscopic and Laparoscopic Hospital at Chirudu National Referral Hospital. She's recognized for her commitment to advancing safe and accessible surgical care in Uganda. She earned her bachelor's degree of medicine and surgery from Bara University, Science and Technology, and later obtained a master's degree in general surgery at Makerere University. So, inspired by life-changing education opportunity, she received through WMI and founded Girls Unstoppable to pass on the gift of education to girls within Uganda. Dr. Catherine Nagadya continues to inspire the next generation while working tirelessly to restore, preserve, and uplift lives. Today, we are going to meet Dr. Catherine Nagadya this Sunday as she shares with us more about wellness, work, and life balance. How is she able to do it all? How is she able to be a mother? How is she able to be a doctor and live the best of both worlds? So without any further ado, I'm going to invite Dr. Catherine Nagadya to share with us her message for today.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday. Good evening, those who are in Uganda. I think it could be 8 p.m. for people in West Africa. I hope we are also having so many people from across Africa. It's an honor for me to be able to share on a topic that is very close to my heart, not from a place of theory, but from a place of experience. I'm kindly going to request other participants to give me 1 or 2 expectations that they have from this, the expectations that you have for this webinar, so that I can see how I can meet those expectations. Thank you. You can use the chat and I'll be able to read some of those. Thank you so much, the Medical Scholar Board, for giving me this opportunity to share. I have not been here in a while, and probably as I go through my presentations, you guys are going to forgive me for missing very many webinars. Our presentation this afternoon, I decided to coin it, "You can't pour from an empty cup." And I hope that by the end of our presentation, we will be able to have a few tips on how to navigate family expectations, career demands, and personal well-being. At the beginning of this year, I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old daughter, 2 years and 6 months. And in December, my maids, my house helps left. And so I started off the year when I hadn't really rested from the festive holiday. And I had to continue working. I think I'm the one who covered the hospital around the first. But also we all know that there's a lot of spiritual activity that goes on when we are ending the year and crossing over into the new year. So there was all these church activities that I needed to be involved in. And that particular year, I and my husband had been the coordinators for our marriage fellowship cell. And, we have a home, there is work. My commute to Chirudu is about 100 kilometers in a day. I spend about 3 to 4 hours on the road. So it was very, very exhausting. On top of that, We have a pharmacy that we had acquired last year in April. And then, of course, there is Girls Unstoppable Uganda, which this year is making 10 years. So we had all these plans, how we are going to have a strategy, how we are going to build momentum. So I had quite a lot on my plate. And I know for many people who see me, or people who check out my LinkedIn, and then you see that short bio, you're like, hey man, this lady, has figured it out. She's a wife, she's a mother, she's a surgeon, she's a leader, she's a mentor, she's a CEO and a founder. She even has a business. Exciting stuff, yeah? People usually think that, when you have all those things, you're quite successful, but being those very many things can actually leave you very, very exhausted. And so at the beginning of the year, I actually felt like I was really running on empty. Yeah, I was really, really running on empty. And my sincere apologies. Let me reshare that. And forgive me, my daughter wants my attention.
Yes, doctor, your microphone is muted.
You'll forgive me. I'll have to attend a webinar with this little girl, but we will manage. No worries. Allow me to reshare my screen. But also, I'm going to turn off my video. Okay, how come I can't share my screen? It keeps getting off when I share. Do you guys see my screen?
It's on.
It's on. I am presenting in a webinar. Okay. Yes, so you're going to keep quiet so that I can make my presentation, okay? Yeah, do you want to sleep? Okay, you'll be there. All right. It's well. So I actually realized that I was really exhausted. Doctor. I was pouring from an empty cup. But that wasn't the only time that has happened. Like I said, Girls Unstoppable Uganda has been there for 10 years. I've been married for nearly 4 years. I have 2 children. I've done businesses before. There was a season I was doing med. I was an employee at some time. I was an intern doctor at some time. So life has been busy. Yeah. So those seasons where I have actually felt exhausted and pouring from an empty cup have actually been there. And I know that it is actually very true for most of the medical scholars on the call. For many of you, you are doing very many things. Some of you are students, some of you are already working, or you have even started your master's, or you're doing some postgraduate course. Some of you are parents already, then your spouses to someone, you have children, or you're a child to your parents, you're doing mentorship work. And of course, being part of WMI, we are community leaders and we are caregivers. And all those things can actually be very, very exhausting. So it is very common for all of us. And I know that as I share this afternoon, very many of us are going to relate. Interestingly, when we become older, or when people want us to grow up and they're giving us all these responsibilities, there are many things that people do not talk about. They don't talk about family expectations. People don't want to talk about the financial responsibilities that you have, the community obligations that you have. Being part of WMI, we are supposed to be giving back to community. So you have those community obligations. Then you have academic pressure, career progression issues. You have some social expectations. You want to socialize. You want to be part of Rotary. You want to attend your friends' baby showers, bridal showers, weddings, and all. Then for many of us, our parents have started becoming older. So there is an aspect of caring for your aging parents, and then you're raising your very your very own children. So life can actually be very exhausting. There is a lot that is expected of us, yeah? And I know for some of us who are Christian, we keep consoling ourselves with the scriptures like, I can do all things, through Christ who strengthens me. But we have to remember that the Bible has actually told us that in this world, we are going to actually have trouble. There are going to be so many things that are bombarding you left, right, and center, and they are stealing your peace. They are stealing your focus. Those things are going to be there. And interestingly, when you get married, you have that to like the power of two, because you get a more extended family, more financial responsibilities, more community obligations. Then you also have to care about the academic and the career progression of your spouse. There are all these social expectations for you as a married couple. Then you also have the other parents to take care of, yeah? And that is why Paul advised that it is good if you do not marry, because those who marry, they will have trouble. So that trouble is actually assured. But this is not to demoralize you and to make you not want to get married. That is not the thing. The thing is that actually these things, the fact that they have been talked about in the Bible, they are an expectation of life. But there is also a way around them. So along this life of trying to balance career, balance social life, balance my personal life, I have actually discovered that balance is not doing everything, especially doing everything by yourself. Balance in life is not pleasing everyone. You don't have to. Balance doesn't mean you never have to rest. Balance doesn't mean you have to be available all the time to everybody. Balance is actually knowing what matters most right now. Balance is setting priorities. Balance is letting some things wait. And this is what we are going to be talking about. And I have been I have fallen prey of trying to be that to be balanced, who does everything. You want to be the one who cleans the house, irons the clothes, bathe the children, feed them. You're the one who wants to cook your husband's food, serve him. You want to please everyone. You're the one who wants to attend every burial, attend every baby shower. My mentor, one of my mentors told me that there is no crown for the most tired woman in heaven. Just telling us you don't have to break your back trying to do everything, pleasing everyone and never resting. Yeah. She told me there is actually no crown for the most tired woman in heaven. And the Bible tells us which crowns are there for the people who have won more souls to Christ. Those ones exist. But the one of the most tired person, the one who apparently did everything for their child, the one who attended everything for their friends, that one doesn't exist. So we have to exercise wisdom. And that wisdom is in knowing what matters most and setting priorities and even learning to say no, like this can actually wait. And that is how we achieve balance. But also it is important to note that the different things in your life, they will actually carry different percentages of priority. For example, family in a particular season of your life might take more of your time, might require most of your resources. Your investments might be going there. But then in a different season of your life, it might be career, it might be academics. So you need to be able to evaluate and identify what season are you in as an individual so that you set your priorities right. For example, the season that I am in right now, having a young family, it is very important, yeah? And therefore, family is going to fall just below my spiritual priorities. I'll make sure that if I am to do certain tasks, I sort out my spiritual tasks before, then I do family before I go to work. But some time back, it was spiritual, then career, or it was academics at some season of my life. And it is not going to be like this forever, because you know what? At some point, my children are not going to be dependent. They'll be able to go about their affairs without me, and they'll cease being clingy and requiring a lot of my time. And therefore, some of their things may actually wait. So it is important in our pursuit of balance for these things to identify the season of life that we are in, and then we set our priorities and allow certain things to actually wait. So when you are prioritizing, you have to ask yourself some questions. Is this really important? In the aspect of, does it contribute to my goal? Does it, contribute to my values as an individual? Then is it actually urgent? Does it require immediate action, or is it something that I can wait for later? What is the impact? What is the impact? Especially if I complete this task, you may find that when I do this, then it becomes easier for me to do other things, yeah? So for example, I have been doing a Bible marathon thing where we are supposed to read the New Testament in 29 days. And I realized that when I wake up early in the morning and I do the chapters, we're supposed to be reading 9 chapters a day. When I do my 9 chapters a day, before I check my phone, before I attend to the children, before I even take my bath, it was easier for me to complete that particular task because it had a deadline. I had to complete the New Testament in 29 days. Yeah. So I found that when I do that, then I am free to do the other things. Yet if I start by checking my phone, before you know it is 30 minutes, then before you know it, you're driving to work, before you know it, you're in a surgery, before you know it, it's the end of the day and you've actually not done that particular important thing. So you need to ask yourself, what is the impact, but also what are the consequences if I delay? If I delay this task and I choose to do it tomorrow or next week or next month. So there is this urgent important matrix, and I'm going to give certain examples. There are things in your life that are important and they are urgent. Those ones require to be done fast. Then there are those that are important and not urgent. Those ones you have to schedule and protect time for them. Then there will be those things that are urgent and not important. Those ones you have to delegate if possible. Then those that are not urgent and not important, you eliminate or postpone. And I'm going to start with the one below. One of the things I decided to do was not to get onto TikTok, because I realized in the groups where I am, like my family page, you'd be discussing something. So for example, you're looking for a present for mommy and daddy, and you've told maybe one of my sisters to look out some outfits. And the person would send you like 50 TikTok videos about different stores selling the same item. So you end up spending a lot of time going through TikTok videos, TikTok. I decided to not be on TikTok. And social media is one of those things that actually take a lot of your time. So you end up not being productive, not hitting the most important and urgent tasks because you've spent your time on social media. The other not urgent and not important things to do is some banter. Sokablanta. We are talking about Lugamo village. You're talking your kindly help me mute the participants who are unmuted. Thank you. So there is banter, some arguments that you don't have business being into, they're just going to consume your time. Yeah. So those are actually not urgent and not important. And if somebody is sending you a message in your inbox, sending you memes of how Arsenal lost and PSG is, whatever, you don't have to respond to those things. It is important. Then there are those things that are urgent and not important. One of the things I told you is we run a pharmacy. And one of the things that are important is doing stock taking, then doing orders, checking through the different invoices that have been sent to you, deciding where to buy what. In my house, there are tasks like cooking the food, ironing the clothes, etc., etc. Those things sometimes can be urgent. Like if you have a stock out at the pharmacy overnight, but you can actually delegate. You can call up your staff and you're like, you know what? Kindly help me source for A, B, C, D, and F. She collects maybe 3 invoices. Then you actually review, confirm that, that's the person who is giving us the product at the least possible price, and you actually go ahead. You don't have to spend time doing that particular task. Then there are those that are important and not urgent. For example, family time. Sometimes it is not a matter of life and death. You can actually schedule, like, you know what? For us, every Friday evening, I and my husband can have 30 minutes of uninterrupted time or play time in the evening. Sometimes I am leaving work and my daughter is like, Mommy, please play with me. You're dressed up, you want to rush to work, and she's busy crying, Mommy, please play with me. And I've learned to actually tell her, Laura, I have to go to work. I'm going to play with you in the evening. And therefore, when I go to work, I make sure I come back early in the evening so that I can play with her, because it is important for me to be there for my children. Then they are important, important and urgent tasks. Laura, I am presenting.
I'm doing what?
I am presenting.
I'm going to play with me.
Yes, I'll play with you after.
Mm.
Important and urgent tasks, yeah? For example, life-saving surgery. Life-saving surgery. They call you for an emergency. You have to actually dive in. Those ones you have to actually do fast. Like I shared, I am a surgeon, and there are things that I have learned about surgery that I have started to implement in my life so that I can achieve some kind of life, like work-life balance, yeah? As surgeons, before we go into surgery, we prepare, is it the right patient? Do you have all the necessary sundries for you to do the surgery? Do you have the investigations? Is the patient even prepared themselves? So you prepare. You also prepare your team. Then you prioritize. There are days when you have emergencies and elective surgeries. So when you go into theater, you first work on the emergency surgeries before you work on the elective surgeries. And the beauty about surgery, like you can't wake up one day and you set up an office by yourself. You have to work with a team. There's anesthesia, there are nurses who are assisting you, who are looking after your patient on the ward, who are even preparing the patient before they come to theater, the ones who are with your patient in recovery. There are all these team dynamics, and not forgetting lab, imaging, the cleaners, all those people influence your outcomes, yeah? So you cannot work alone, and that is a very, very important life lesson. Then there is also a bit about knowing your limits. I am a general surgeon. In my residency, I was exposed to neurosurgery. I rotated in Uganda Heart Institute for my cardiovascular rotation, but I cannot dive into somebody's heart. I cannot dive into somebody's brain unless it is trauma. They have like a subdural, and it is giving them very bad ICP. That is when I would dive in. But if it is somebody's brain tumor, hydrocephalus, I will not dive in. Even if I am the only person, I will refer that patient. I have learned to know my own limits. And therefore, I have transferred these lessons into my life. Preparation matters, yeah? Every day that I wake up, I have to prepare. I have to sit down and ask myself, what are the most three important things that I need to do? What will I need to achieve those things? How can I go about them? What resources do I need? What people do I need? So that at the end of the day, I am able to actually achieve those particular things. Then support systems matter. When I was in MMed, I was shocked to learn that the people who had children and family during MMed were the most stable. They are the ones who, were doing well in school. And us who were single and the only thing we had was to read, we were not thriving in MMed. And I actually understood that support systems matter. Going through MMed was such a funness moment. And I remember there was a time I had an exam and I had failed to read. My big sister had to come to my place and practically babysit me for me to be able to sit down and read and be able to go for that exam. So support systems matter. And that's the thing with life. Once you become a wife, a mother, you're an entrepreneur, you are a mentor, you are a career woman, for example, you're a surgeon or a physician or whatever, for you to be able to thrive in all those areas, the kind of support systems you have in the different pillars of your life are going to be important. You can't be a one-man's show. You can't be a self-built, a self-made person. It is impossible. You will have to work with people. There are days that I have had private emergency surgeries, and I have had to leave like at 7, 8 p.m. And my husband has had to take over the care of the child. Yeah, I have had to go away. Recently, I was training in sorority and ginger on endoscopy. And because I was just going to spend 2 days in those places, I didn't want to travel with the children. And he had to step in and take over. And those nights, I know they were difficult for him because, the 11 months old still has to feed in the night. But that support allowed me to be able to go up country and work smoothly. That support at home allows me to be able to do A, B, C, D, and F. These house managers we have, their ability to be able to prepare the meals, wash the children, do A, B, C, D, and F, allow you to be able to thrive at your workplace. Yeah. I remember the season when I didn't have house help at home. Oh my God, I couldn't do nothing at work. I would get work to just show a face because you're not settled. Probably you've left the kid at, some place, maybe a daycare place, and you're not comfortable. So you're constantly overwhelmed by anxiety and you cannot function when you are anxious. So support systems do matter. Then, of course, rest is important. There is no surgeon, even the strongest and the one who is very excellent, is always doing surgery all the time. At some point, they have to scrub out. They have to scrub out. No one can go on and on and on. And therefore, we have to actually rest. We have to stop occasionally and think through our lives. So over the years, through being mentored, through working with older people, I have learned that it is actually very possible for you to have it all, for you to have a social life, for you to have a thriving spiritual life, for you to have family, for your finances to be in order, and for you to have a thriving career. Yeah, those things are very, very important. But I have to give you a disclaimer. The importance of those things differ for different individuals. But for me, I have discovered that my spiritual capital comes first. It comes first. It is the most important. It is the most important, and therefore it is number one. But also I have discovered that finances are important, but actually they are not the most important. So for me, they score 5. Yeah, it is number 5 on my list. Yeah, and I'm going to take you through these 5 capitals, one of the things that I actually do for me to be able to strike a balance. But I'm not talking about the balance where you are showing up for everyone, doing everything. No, I'm talking about the other balance where you are prioritizing, where you're even saying no. That is the kind of balance that I am going to share about. So for me, my spiritual capital is my foundation. I am born again. I love the Lord. And I have discovered that on the days that I have not had my personal time with God, like where I read the word of God, I have prayed for at least 30 minutes in the morning, or I woke up in the night and I, went through the word of God, did a certain devotion. My day is very, very unstable. And so for me, my spiritual capital is my foundation. So I keep filling it with prayer. I keep filling it with my faith. I keep filling it with worship. I reflect and I align all these things to my purpose. Because for me, that is where I find my strength. Beyond the titles, beyond all these things that people call you mommy, I tell my wife, I tell what. For me, that is the center that holds all these other pieces together. And I want to pose a question to you. What anchors you? What is that foundation for yourself? Because when you identify that thing, then your biggest investment is going to be in that thing, which is the foundation. Then after that, like I already mentioned, especially in this season of my life, for me, my relational capital comes next, which is my support system. Yeah. Family, the nuclear one, the extended one, friends, the kind of mentors that I have had to go to, because certain seasons can actually be very difficult. And you do well when you actually speak to an older person. You do well when you get into a particular space so that you can actually thrive, but also figure out life better. And community, those things are important because no one succeeds alone. I do not believe that there is a self-made man. I don't believe that. So relationships are investments. They are not interruptions. And you have to actually make time for those things. My apologies. Yeah. So you have to actually do those investments. You need to have a crowd of people who are going to stay with you beyond your achievements. I know so many times, especially when you're in the limelight or when you have done well in your life, you have so many people around you, but usually those people are around you because of what they can get from you. Yeah. But you need to be able to have a group of people who will survive with you, who will be there with you, even in your lowest and hard seasons of life. Then the physical capital is also very important because this is the vehicle. This is the vehicle. This is what carries you. Yeah? Your body. Yeah? Your body. So you need to be able to give your body sleep. You need to exercise your body. You need to nourish your body. You need to be able to rest. Rest and sleep are actually very different things. You can go to sleep and you're not rested. So rest is also a very important thing. I am still struggling in this body because I leave home like at 7, then you get home like at 8, and you've been standing in theater all day, climbing up the different levels of the hospital. I still struggle to exercise, but I have tried to give my body very good food. So I am always revising our menu at home to make sure that we are having enough carbohydrates, enough protein for the different people in my household. They need to be fed well. Yeah. So it is actually very important that you take care of your body because this is the body that you need to fulfill your purpose. If you become sick, if you die, another person is going to actually take your place at work in less than, actually, before you wrote, there will be somebody who has already taken over your responsibility and your place. So you need to be able to take care of your body. So sleep between 7 to 9 hours. Yeah, it is important that you create a relaxing bedtime routine. Don't be on your phone scrolling to sleep. Be able to, is it called detach from social media and all its influences. Detach from those things. Don't take coffee before you go to sleep. Like, shower, go for a massage, relax. These things are important. Then the intellectual capital. Albert Einstein said that the minute you stop learning, you start dying. So you need to be able to keep growing and therefore read some books, enroll for things and learn. Just being in this webinar is a very good thing. Yeah, you're learning, but also be able to train others and also get trained, get into mentorships. Have some curiosity. Ask yourself things like, Banaye, how do people paint, and go and paint? How do people dance? And you go and enroll for a dancing class, Do these things, Pursue continuous growth. Never stop being a student, because the moment you stop learning, you actually start dying. Then lastly, for me, it is the financial capital. This one is just an enabler. It is the thing that allows you to do the things that you can do. The Bible says that money answers all things. The money is important for you to thrive in your spiritual capital, in your relational capital, in your physical capital, because if what you need is a massage and you don't have money, you're not going to be able to go for a massage. Yeah. If you need to sleep better and the issue is the bed, the mattress, you'll not be able to get a good bed and mattress unless you have the money. So money answers all things. But with this money, you have to plan for it. You have to plan for it, because you also have to understand that the amount of money you're going to be earning over your different seasons of life is going to be different. Before I gave birth, I would run. They call you here for some gig, you are there. But right now, I am not able to learn as much because my priority is investing time with my family. So sometimes you can actually call me and I am not able to make it. Yeah. So that windfall of money that you might have gotten in a particular season, you need to plan for it so that in the another season where you're not earning much, you can still live comfortably, because money answers all things. Therefore, you have to learn investments, you have to learn saving. And money is really about stewardship. You've just been given this money for you to be of influence. Therefore, you have to make sure that this money is stewarded well. And it is important that you actually have money, because when you have money, it reduces unnecessary stress, but also money creates for you opportunities to be able to serve others. Yeah. And with this, if you have money, then you can have certain systems in place. So for example, if you have some money, then you're able to have things like a washing machine at home. You can have all these gadgets for preparing meals. You can have, a dishwasher, and that actually frees you some time to be able to do certain things, but also be able to employ more stable but more value-adding stuff in your own home, so that you are free to be able to do other things. Even if it's your side hustle, you'll be able to employ people because you can pay them better, and therefore they give you a more better system for you to be able to thrive. But most importantly, it creates stability. So I have learned over time that every time that my cup begins to feel empty, I don't ask, how can I work harder? How can I hit more targets? Usually I pause and I ask myself, which capital have I stopped investing in? And over time, I have learned that the moment I stop investing in my spiritual capital, all the other capitals start to have issues. I will be irritable, because you know what? I have stopped feeding myself with the truth that, you know what, God is my source. Stopped feeding myself with the truth that, you know what, God actually loves me. God cares that I flourish. God cares that I thrive. When I come out of that place, I become anxious. And once I become anxious, then I start making weird decisions with my relationships. Then I start making weird decisions with my money, with how, I invest in myself to grow. And therefore, it usually have issues. So usually I ask myself, which capital have I stopped investing in? The seasons where I have not had enough support for me to be able to do the other things that I am doing, it means that I've stopped investing in my relational capital. Those moments when you wake up and you're like, oh, babe, I need to do this. And it's like, nah. Usually it's like, you're having issues with him. He's now not willing to come and step in for you. So you keep checking. You have to keep checking yourself. You have to keep checking yourself. And interestingly, the quality of our lives is determined not by the strongest capital we possess, but by the weakest capital we neglect. That one that you neglect is the one that is going to bring you down. That is where the loophole is going to start, and the cliff will come. If the capitals are like stones for us who have ever cooked using charcoal. The fireplace used to have like 3 stones. Your life is like the pot on top of that charcoal. The weakest one is the one that is going to cause the pot to topple over. Yeah. So I have had to actually stop trying to do everything myself, and therefore I delegate. Currently in my household, I have SOPs. I have a feeding SOP for each of the children. I have an SOP for cleaning, who washes when the clothes ironed, etc., etc., so that I just have to remind the other person that, you know what, today you're supposed to do A, B, C, D, and if there is even an SOP for cleaning the bathroom, because I in trying to stop to do everything myself, I had to put systems in place that make delegation very easy. At the pharmacy, I stopped analyzing the invoices that come through, because that used to take many, many hours, and then you end up being absent at a certain place, because the moment you say yes to something, then there is something that you're saying no to. Then I schedule family time. I have decided to be intentional, because usually when you don't schedule things, they don't get done. Yeah. So I usually schedule, we need to visit this sister of mine in-law, this friend of mine, we need to check on them like in this month. Other than that, people will keep saying, Catherine got so busy and she forgot us. When she got married and got children and her family, she forgot us. So I have tried to schedule family time, especially extended family time. And then I am learning to say no. I'm really, really learning to say no, because every yes costs something. The fact that I am here, we had the incident at the beginning of the webinar. My daughter was on the door banging it, and she wanted to come. She was already crying, because by me being here, yet Sunday is usually our time together. It cost me that, and she had started becoming irritated of that. So every time that I say yes to something, it costs me something somewhere else. Therefore, I keep evaluating and prioritizing and saying no sometimes. Then I protect my spiritual life. I have labored enough about this, because for me, faith keeps me grounded. And I have learned to ask for help. It is not a weakness. I have learned to ask for help. And I'll keep asking for help. Recently, I think like a week or so ago, my husband sent me that PDF book, The Art of Saying No. And it happened at a season where I was starting to oversay yes, 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 because sometimes the things you're actually saying yes to are things that are feeding into your purpose. You feel like, you know what, you're living, you're making an impact, you're giving back to community. And he sent me that book. Maybe it was his way of holding me accountable and bringing me to book. But I'm learning. And no is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain to yourself. You don't have to say, no, Laura, I am taking a nap because no, you just have to say no later. No. Because like I have said, every time that you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. Then you have to continuously evaluate yourself and you keep checking your cup because you will actually know when you're starting to run empty. You become irritable. You're constantly fatigued. You have no joy. The things that used to give you pleasure when you're doing them, you find that, you know what, you don't enjoy doing them anymore. You have difficulty concentrating and therefore completing tasks. You feel so disconnected. You know, you're having all these recurrent respiratory tract infections. Usually for me, when I get flu, I just know that I am stressed. Yeah, frequent illnesses, especially those viral illnesses. And if you start neglecting relationships, especially the ones that are important to you, it is important that you actually notice these things and you flag them and you're like, but now I need to withdraw and recharge. So what do you do actually when you start feeling that you are running on empty? One of the things that you actually have to do is to rest. And rest is more than sleep. It is not laziness. It is important for you to keep going. Rest is maintenance. It is like what you do with your car or that machine that is important for you. You have to routinely maintain it so that it keeps serving you. Physical rest might include sleep. It could include a massage. It could include physical exercises so that you can reboot your body. Emotional rest may include having to withdraw and you stop carrying people's burdens and emotions. Now you're the one who is grieving for everybody. Today you slept at this one's vigil, tomorrow another person's vigil. You're the one who is sleeping as an attendant in hospital for people. Just carrying the negative energies of people that can cause you to get exhausted. So sometimes you just have to shield yourself. You have to shield yourself and rest emotionally, spiritually. Here, the rest means actually getting back into that place. Yeah. So you can retreat and just spend binge times with God, read more the word, pray for longer, just be intimate with God, so that you can feel refueled and connected to the anchor of your life. Then social rest. There are many of us who are partying left, right, center. Friday night, you're at someone's wedding meeting, launch. Saturday, you go for somebody's kwanjula. Sunday, you are serving in church. And then for us who are medical personnel, then you have to listen to people's issues, taking history left, right, and center, comforting people, consoling people. It can be socially draining. So you actually have to even rest. And you're like, this weekend, it is me and myself, then mental rest. And this one is actually very difficult because, man, our phones, these days, they're just a tsunami of information. So you're actually consuming too much information, left, right, and center, from Instagram, LinkedIn, in your personal WhatsApp, what people's WhatsApp status says. Too much consumption of information that can actually get you brain jammed and exhausted. So you also have to withdraw. There are times that I've actually taken WhatsApp and social media breaks, and I have uninstalled apps on my phone and just disappeared. Right now, I think for the last maybe 7 or 8 months, I have more than 300 unread messages. So people who on the phone call, I may not have responded to your message. It is because of that. Like, I cannot respond to every person's message. If you feel that the message is important, you just have to call me up. I have decided to also do that for me to be able to rest. Because as you're responding to Angela, then you realize that there is Onesai's message, then there is Ochieng's message. Before you know it, it's 3 hours and you've just been swimming through emotions. Onesai's message might have been how he has won a grant for his PhD research, so you're excited for him. Then you dive into Angela, and Angela has had such a terrible day on the ward. She lost like 3 patients and she feels like it was her problem. She's blaming herself. Then you dive into that emotion of, connecting with your colleague and, consoling her. Then you get into Ochieng's message and he's there confused. And, at the end of the day, you end up, as you're consuming this information, it kind of influences the way that you're feeling. Then, you become overwhelmed. Overwhelmed. So I have actually had to take some breaks for me to be able to rest and maintain myself. As I come to a conclusion, as WMI scholars, WMI has invested in us, and it is actually continuing to invest in us. It is investing in us through these webinars. For example, they are giving us so many opportunities. I have had an opportunity of receiving 3 grants from WMI, 2 seed grants and 1 growth grant. I've received a President's Award from WMI. I've traveled twice to the US as an ambassador for WMI. There is the Dream Big conference. I have attended all of them. There's been so many opportunities that have come through WMI. And because of the gift of WMI, of a scholarship that I received, I was able to become a doctor. I was able to start Girls Unstoppable Uganda. And I've been able to do all these many things that I've been able to do. Yeah. And therefore, the greatest return, the greatest gift that I can give WMI is for me to remain healthy enough to continue serving. And for me to be able to do that, I have to continuously fill my cup. WMI doesn't want that picture. That picture, I think you can see it, of Catherine with her hand on their cheek, sad, overwhelmed by all these many things. These things are so beautiful. They are very proud of us when, they get to hear you're a leader, you are doing a lot of community transformation, you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of your aging parents, but you have to do all those things while keeping yourself healthy so that you can keep serving. If you mentally break down, you'll not be able to do any of those things, yeah? And would have missed out on the incredible gift that you are. Therefore, I want to charge you this week. You sleep for an extra hour. Call someone you love. Take a walk. Pray for those who believe in God. Ask for help. It is not a weakness for you to ask for help. Say no to one unnecessary commitment, and you will learn that those small actions matter. When you keep doing it week in, week out, you'll be able to thrive in every season of your life. And as I conclude, I want to remind you that for all of us, the world needs our gifts. Family needs our presence. Community needs our service. But before all that, we have to remain well enough to keep showing up for those people. And we do that by filling our cups. Then we can pour into others generously. If there is anything that you can take from this webinar, remember that self-care is not selfish. It is stewardship. Thank you so much for according me the opportunity of speaking with you this evening. I hand over to Angela before I say I welcome questions and feedback. But thank you so much. It was such an honor sharing. I hope you have been inspired and helped.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Catherine, for this wonderful session. The thing is, these are things we hear every day. These are things that our family and friends keep telling us: rest, do this, do that. But a constant reminder is always welcome. It's always different. One thing I'm going to re-echo from Dr. Catherine's message is, your body will always let you know when something is going on. Your body will speak to you. When you're getting constant headaches, when you're having the flus, when you're having that stress going on, your body will let you know that your cup is empty. Reset. You need to fill your cup in order for others to benefit from that overflow. So I'm not going to go on so much, but I'm going to allow about 10 minutes of questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand or type it within the chat. Yes, please. We shall hear from Mr. Samuel. please go on and unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Angela. Hope everyone is getting me well. Yeah, I'm called Samuel Olia Peter Mok. I'm a student at the University of Rwanda pursuing pharmacy. So yeah, I would like to start by saying thank you so much, Catherine, for your insightful session. For us young people who are still at the university and people who are trying to solve some community challenges through advocacy and working on some project. Yeah, I have a question actually. I've been that person who find it difficult to say no because of the guilt that come with it. Because like sometimes someone need help and you have really a commitment to do something other than helping them. So because also you say that you can't pour from an empty cup, that is really true. So my question is, how can we as young people who are still building overcome the guilt of saying no? Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Samuel. We shall have another question. Just one more question. And Doctor can answer that question for us. In the meantime, Doctor can answer Samuel's question.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Yes, you can go ahead and iron. You can iron for me this one. Yes. Thank you so much, Samuel. I think two things. One is you have to learn to separate the request from the person. Because the person can actually still feel valued even when you decline their request. And you can actually say it. You're like, you know what? I actually understand your challenge. I value our relationship, but I am not able to do this right now. Yeah. Then they will have that reassurance of, you know what, much as she said no, she actually thinks about me. She understands my pain, but she's not able to do that. But remember that no is actually a full sentence. Oh my God, my daughter is banging something. My apologies. I thought the ironing was fake, but we are really ironing. Now you're going to burn yourself. Yes, but it's hot.
Iron.
And then
Iron.
you need to.
Mom, not iron.
It's okay, you go, but don't burn yourself.
Hey, I put iron there. Banana eggs. It's gone. Iron. Not banana toast.
So the other thing is you also need to always realign your priorities. Every time that you receive a request, you need to ask yourself, if I say yes to this particular thing, what am I saying no to? Because then if you realize that by saying yes to this particular thing, you're saying no to a very critical and an important thing, yeah, then you will be able to replace that guilt of saying no with the responsibility that you have in fulfilling that priority. So for example, if you're saying yes to a committee, an engagement, a party, etc., you're saying yes to those things, and you're relocating that time. You, in the end, you're saying no to your spouse, to your children, to your health. Then I think you'll actually find it easier for you to actually say no when you put it in that context. So contextualize that guilt and weigh it in with the responsibility that you have in line with your priorities. I think that can actually help you.
Thank you so much for that feedback, Doctor. I'm not seeing any more hands up, so I think we can go ahead and conclude our meeting. But first, I'd like to appreciate Dr. Catherine for taking time of her very busy schedule of caring for her family and meeting with us and giving us this talk. So I'd really like to appreciate us. At the beginning of the meeting, we set some expectations, and I believe all these expectations have been met. Jessica and Shamim shared some expectations for the meeting, and I believe they've been met. So at that point, at that note, I'd like to appreciate everyone for making time to attend these webinars. We really look out so much for you. We look out so much for our health professionals, and we want the best for you. That's why we always ensure to have a webinar out for you, either on your social life, to build your career, to help you advance in every aspect of life every Sunday at around this time. So please ensure or endeavor to take off time and always be here for these webinars. And at this point, I'd like to hand over the stage to Dr. Isaac to say something to us. Yes, please, Dr. Isaac.
Thank you very much, Dr. Angela. But most importantly, we want to thank Dr. Catherine for taking time out of your busy schedule to have this yet very, very insightful session with us and the scholars. Personally, I wrote down quite a lot of lessons from this webinar, and I must say, we scholars, we are very, very much appreciative of this webinar. We want to also thank everybody for making time to join this session. Over to you, Angela. Angela,
Right,
I think there are some stuff on the call. I can see Bonnie, I can see Joy, so you can just appreciate them too for joining. Yeah.
Yes, you can say a word or two. Joyce, Bonnie, and I think
Justice is on the
also still
call
on the
too.
call.
Yeah.
Yes. We can have a word or two from Joyce and Bonnie, and we can call it a day.
Hi, Dr. Angela. It's been a very, very educative session. I've always looked forward to hearing people speak about work-life balance, and having this first-hand experience from Catherine, who has a lot on her plate. It really makes me feel like I really need to separate those two, having two jobs, having a family, having school, having an organization as well, having businesses. It's really not easy, but it's really motivating to know that I'm not alone, and I really need to separate those two. Thanks so much, Medical Scholar Board, for organizing this session. It has been very educative. Back to you, Angela.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Joyce. We can hear from Bonnie now.
Bonnie Mark is here enjoying I'd already said no, Dr. Catherine, but when I realized it was Dr. Catherine, I had to sacrifice to be here. But it was amazing learning a lot from you always as a big sis. I appreciate your efforts, and I appreciate the impact you're causing beyond one last final shot that you made, beyond the scholarship. Amazing testimony from what you can benefit from WMI, but also what you are able to utilize the skills, the benefits, the grant support, and all the privileges to do. Now, you're a life example of that, giving back to your community in a very big way and always being available to support other scholars, alumni, whenever you're called. Your daughter was knocking the door, you had to sacrifice her to attend to WMI. It's an amazing effort. I think most of us, or so many of us, takes this for granted, that anytime you spend giving back on a webinar like this, on a Green Conference workshop, it is a give back to WMI in a non-monetary format. But imagine the impact and the life you have touched this afternoon, today, and what transformation, amazing transformation. Even within ourselves, within me who has been, I'd really given up, but little did I know that this was going to be speaking to my soul, to be speaking to my mental health, is to be speaking to my financial health, and how I would generously say no, and Dr. Angela would get annoyed, but at the end of the day, I've also said no because I've sacrificed something else. So thank you very much, Angela, for this session. Thank you, Dr. Catherine, for being available, and all the staff on call. I wish you a very wonderful new month coming up tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much, Bonnie Mark, for that feedback. I'd like to recognize the presence of former MSB members, Dr. Shamim, Dr. Theophilus, as well as Dr. Aisha. Thank you for making the time and be part of us today. So,
Dr. Onisa is on the call too.
all right. I beg your pardon on that. Dr. Onesai as well. Thank you so much for being here. So at this point, I'd like to wish everyone a lovely evening, a lovely day, and I look forward to having you at more of these sessions. Feel at WMI. Bye.
All right, bye. Oh, Angela, we didn't take a group picture.
Oh, before we all go off, kindly turn on your videos so that we can take a group picture to commemorate this session. It will take a minute or two. Thank you.
Joyce, Miliki, eh?
That's an okra. Okra is really teeny.
Okay, all right. So 1, 2, 3, say WMI. Okay, I've taken quite a number. Okay, all right. So bye.
Bye. Thank you.